Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unboxed God, where we detox from religion and discover the God who refuses to fit inside the boxes we were given. I'm Tolu Sarah Johnson, and here we explore who God really is beyond fear, beyond formulas, and beyond everything we were taught to perform. If you are hungry, like I am, for a real relationship with Him, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. Wow, this is going to be a series of videos still in the parable, which we've been going through the parable of Jesus, but with more focus on a bonus theme which is going to focus around preparation, judgment. I've gone through all the 54 parables. I've listed them down. I've journeyed them into 7 series of books. But now there's a bonus, which is the preparation team. And this is going to be an introduction to the preparation team. And hopefully, as I go through the introduction, you will be able to understand why this set of videos or why this team exists. So, this is going to be introduction to book 8, preparing for what is certain. Yes, preparation is not about panic. It is about clarity. Yes, Jesus never prepared people for what was coming by frightening them, like the way the church do frighten us today. That is not how Jesus does things. That is not his approach. He prepared them by awakening them. And of course, when you go through these parables, you will be able to see various gentle ways of Jesus wakening us up from slumber. So this book exists because Jesus spoke more about readiness than reassurance. Yes, not to unsettle his followers, but to steady them. Preparation was never aimed at the rebellious. It was directed towards the comfortable, towards those who believe, attend, follow, and yet have quietly drifted into assumption. So yes, preparation is for us that we think we are in the house, for us that call ourselves Christians, for us that call ourselves born again. Because the greatest danger in the kingdom is not rejection, it is delay. Yes, and we know that delay is still happening today. Nobody knows when Jesus will come. But we cannot lose our guard. We have to be on guard all the time. So judgment, when you look at it, is not cruelty. It is revelation of who you've always been anyway. Because when people see the word judgment, it often feels harsh. But in Jesus' teaching, it is not sudden punishment. It is truth revealed. It reveals who you have been all along. So judgment is the movement when what was hidden becomes visible. What was assumed is texted, and what was postponed becomes final. It does not alter reality, it exposes it. So this is why Jesus does not begin his parable with judgment. It begins with preparation. God does not desire to catch people unaware. He desires to find them ready. So will you be ready? Because when Jesus spoke in the parables, which are now called the preparation parables, Jesus understood something we often forget. Most people do not need more information. They need interruption. Preparation parables interrupt complacency, spiritual familiarity, delayed obedience, and assumed safety, which we all think that the moment you say the sinner's prayer, that safety is guaranteed. They are not spoken to unbelievers on the outside, but to servants on the inside, to followers already in the field. Because preparation is not getting in. It's about being found faithful. Do you want me to repeat that? Preparation is not about getting in. It is about being found faithful. And if you understand those two statements, those two lines, you will know that you don't need to be worrying about the date, about when it's going to come back. Your focus should just be continually being faithful. Because whether it comes suddenly, whether it comes unaware, wherever time it comes, you will be ready because you've always lived prepared by being faithful. So these parables are not scattered warnings. They form a deliberate progression, a journey that unfolds step by step, from awakening the soul to forcing sober decision, to examining stewardship, to exposing mixed opportunity, to revealing final separation, and clarifying God's true standard. Each parable builds on the last, not to overwhelm you, but to prepare you. And preparation is not rushed, but it is intentional. You have to be intentional about it. My work with God every day is intentional. I have to wake up and decide that today my focus is going to be on the kingdom. And this is how I'm going to use my day. So it is just living an intentional life. So with each movement, responsibility deepens. With each parable, clarity narrows. And with each step, illusion is stripped away. So I've grouped this parable in the theme of preparation into 6 movements. Movement 1 will cover the wake-up call. This is where urgency begins. Comfort is disrupted. So Jesus begins by waking those who are asleep, not because they are evil, but because they are comfortable. So we move from the alert servant to the watching servant, to the groom attendants, and to the 10 virgins. So these are the 4 parables we'll be discussing in movement 1, because before responsibility is taught, awareness needs to be restored. So we go to movement 2, which will be counting the cost. Decision replaces enthusiasm. Once awake, Jesus demands more emotion. A cause for intentional choice. The unprepared builder. The King Wars plan. So following Jesus is never accidental. It is chosen with eyes open. Then we move on to movement 3, which is all about stewardship and accountability. Time is examined, trust is tested. Commitment leads to responsibility. The talent fearful inactivity is judged. The 10 minus faithfulness, not equality, is rewarded. So what you were given was not random, and it will be assessed. Then we move on to movement 4, which is missed opportunity. Grace as a window. Here Jesus reveals something sobering. Patience is real, but not endless. The barren fig tree, the marriage feast, grace ignored does not remain neutral. It expires. Then we move on to movement 5, which is the separation and final outcome. What was mixed is revealed. Judgment is not sudden, it is uncovered. So we go through the parable of the tears in the field, the net of the fish, the sheep and goat, the rich man Lazarus. Not everyone hangs in the same place and pretending does not survive the harvest. Then we move on to movement 6, which is the final standard, the last question God asks. Jesus does not end with terror, he ends with faithfulness, the faithful servant. Were you found doing what you were entrusted to do? So the final measure is not brilliance, gifting, or reputation, but obedience when no one is watching. So as we go through this, Jesus never says be afraid. He says be ready. And readiness is not anxiety. It is alignment with reality. A heart aligned with truth does not fear judgment. It welcomes clarity because when love is lived, honesty judgment becomes confirmation, not terror. So why this parable return again? Because I've covered them all in the first 7 theme. And I'm thinking you might be wondering, why is he here again? Yes, I am aware that none of these parables are new to the journey. They have appeared throughout themes 1 through 7, which is awakening, returning, relating, accepting, growing, sacrificing, and managing. Because Jesus does not teach preparation once, he returns to it. What changes is not the message, but its weight, its emphasis. What once invited discovery now demands resolve. What once awakened awareness now requires action. So this is not repetition for familiarity. It is repetition for readiness. Yes. Preparation is the mercy that comes before the harvest. So, who is this book for? This book is for the believer who feels spiritually stalled, the follower who knows obedience has been delayed, the servant who assumes time was endless, the heart that senses something is coming and wants to be ready. So, it is for those willing to ask, not only. What is God preparing me for? But am I preparing at all? So this is the book supposed to be an invitation, not a threat. Because Jesus never prepared people for ending by pushing them away. He prepared them by saying, pay attention. So this book is not warning, it's not a warning shouted from a distance. It is an invitation spoken up close. An invitation to wake up, to realign, to live intentionally, to become ready, not later, but now. Because preparation does not begin at judgment. It begins the moment truth is heard and no longer avoided. So I hope you will be blessed by this book. And I shall see you in the first chapter of this book, which is the parable of the alert servant. God bless.